In 1985, Stryper released their album Soldiers Under Command, and my friend Jeff and I are going to talk about it on this episode of Records with Ray. Okay. Stryper is a Christian rock band. We all know that now. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I first saw the tape. Everything was tapes back in the 80s. I saw the Soldiers Under Command tape, right? And at the time, I was into a lot of thrash music, like heavier bands like Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax, stuff like that. And a record label that was big for a lot of these bands was Enigma. How do you say it?
Enigma.
Metal Blade Records. Yeah. And I remember seeing the tape for Stryper. Under God's Command. Well, it was just Soldiers Under Command. Mm-hmm. And it was like these dudes dressed in yellow and black. Mm-hmm. They're in front of like this like van that I'm going to age myself here, but you remember that movie Megaforce?
Yeah.
And I remember I saw the movie Megaforce, and it's like this all these like futuristic vehicles, and I remember like they're in front of this like van truck thing that's yellow and black, and they got like these like big ass machine guns,
AR-15 kind of things. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and it's on Metal Blade Records, and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna be tough as hell. I go home and I listen to it, and again, like the production, heavy, really metallic, full on heavy metal, but then they're singing about God. I'm like, wow, okay, all right, this is interesting. And back in the 80s, it was, as far as like mainstream music was concerned, that was definitely not cool, it seemed like.
Right.
Like, because most of the band, I remember a lot of it was the Satanic Panic in the 80s. All these bands were like, they were pseudo-satanic, or they're like singing about whatever, trying to be evil and everything like that. And I thought it was very, very refreshing to have this band with a positive message.
Right.
And the music stands on its own. It's great. It rocks. There's a lot of people I know that, they're not Christian or anything like that, but they love Stryper.
Right.
But how did you get into Stryper? And how did you get into Soldiers Under Command? Was that the first album you got from them? Yeah,
the first introduction of it was through my friend Paul. Took me to his friend Steve's house.
Yeah.
I was raised, my parents listened to contemporary Christian music back then. And I heard a little bit of that. And then, when I got into junior high school, I started hearing the Van Halen stuff and the Foreigner stuff and the Loverboy, and the Journey and all that kind of stuff. And that was really interesting to me. I really, I got stuck on it. But that afternoon when I went to Steve's house with Paul, he says, Jeff, we've been listening to Petra, we've been listening to Dark Armor Key, we've been listening to all these other Christian rock bands. And I didn't realize until I heard Stryper for the first time, Soldiers Under Command, that all of that music was cheesy at the time. It became cheesy sounding to me.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. It wasn't like secular rock and roll. It wasn't Van Halen. It wasn't that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when I heard Soldiers Under Command, I said, man, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
They are just like the other metal bands on MTV.
Yeah.
Blew me away. So as Steve hit that play, it took me to a different place. Oh my gosh. Whoa. First off, the guitar work by Oz Fox.
Yeah.
Blew me away. Oh my gosh.
Well, how the guitar sounds is it stands up.
Yeah.
It's heavy. The drums pounding.
Yeah.
And Michael's sweet.
Yeah. Lead vocalist. He played guitar along with Oz Fox.
I remember back then he had a lot of people compared him to Dennis DeYoung from Styx.
Yeah.
And it's like, sounds. He had the pipes to do it.
He had the pipes, exactly. But when you marry that with some awesome guitar playing by Oz, and Michael also playing along with him.
Yeah.
And then Michael's brother, Robert Sweet, who played the drums. He was
visual timekeeper.
Exactly.
I don't know exactly what that meant. But all I remember for some reason they had the drum set up sideways.
Right. The big thing was that there weren't a lot of bands prior to 84, 85 where the drummers had played double kick bass.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of gave people the visualization of seeing Robert Sweet up there with 2 pedals going like that, turning out an amazing beat.
Yeah.
Okay. But had this huge layout of tom-toms with the snares, tons of cymbals everywhere, and of course a big, huge, massive gong in the background, hanging behind them.
That's just the drum set. But their stage show was incredible.
Yeah.
Yellow and black.
Uh-huh.
Like the 666 with the no sign through it.
Yeah.
They were throwing out Bibles to the crowd.
Uh-huh.
You were getting like a full metal show.
Right.
And but you said that you were really, really into Christian rock at the time.
Yeah.
What did people in the Christian rock community think of Stryper when they got?
Oh man. Okay, so there was.
Were they polarizing, or did everyone love them, or?
Well, the industry itself. I mean, you have to understand. I think Enigma was part of A&M Records. Okay, it was a metal type thing. Of course, A&M had their things. Their other record company names for Christian music, regular basic Christian music. I think that Enigma, that was their first Christian metal band that they had ever put out. And I went out and bought my tape after I heard it from a place called Morgan's Bookstore in Linwood, Washington.
Yeah.
It was an independent Christian bookstore.
So you bought it at a Christian bookstore?
At a Christian
bookstore.
bookstore.
Not at just like the mall or something?
No, not at one of these record places, the mall. And they were very open to having Christian metal in that store. But there were a couple other chains we'd go into, and it's like, oh, no, we don't have that. We don't have that stuff. No. It took a while for Christian bookstores and the music industry overall to accept metal. Because metal...
But it's Christian metal.
Exactly.
The
was
message,
the sound.
The message is there, though.
Right, but it was the sound. It was the guitars. It was the high, screaming like vocals. It was the drums. It was just... a lot more.
So they were judging it on a sonic level?
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is like, here comes Stryper, their Christian Christian metal band. Blatantly. And like Christian record stores?
Exactly.
Christian bookstores.
Selling,
or other Christians.
Selling cassettes and album and LPs.
We're like, no, we're not cool with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
There were a lot out there that were not happy with it. They thought there was some other tone underneath the whole thing of it not being right. Gosh, we're not sure where these guys are coming from. I don't know if they're straight up. I don't know what they're trying to do. Send some other message subliminally or what it was. It was really interesting.
Dude, Jeff, I'll tell you this. I mean, as a metal head, like as I said, I mean, you were talking about using term like secular. I was a secular metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to me like a band like Stryper was taking a lot of risks and taking a lot of chances,
right,
by coming out as this Christian metal band.
Yeah,
because I remember a lot of people. Again, it's always been that same thing. Like there's a lot of people. Oh, I like Stryper, but I don't like their message or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, to me, it seemed like they were going out and taking a chance by doing that.
Yeah, they were.
In spite of all that, though, Stryper did go on to become very successful.
Huge. And
you said that you saw them play at the Paramount in Seattle. Right. And the Paramount is a very big venue. Put things in perspective. David Bowie, when he was promoting, like when he was doing Ziggy Stardust, that he played the Paramount.
Right.
Back in the day.
Right.
It's a big venue.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question for you. Say hypothetically Stryper came out as they were, exactly as they were. But say they weren't Christian. Mm-hmm. All the songs are exactly the same, but the songs weren't Christian themes. Mm-hmm. Do you think they would have been bigger, or not as big, or the same?
They would have a different audience. I think they may have a broader audience because they would have been non-Christian, that whole thing. I think they had a good balance of people that were Christians, that were into hearing a Christian message in the music. But also they attracted a lot of people because there were a lot of unique things about it. There was Michael's lead vocals.
Yeah.
like no other. The guy can scream. The guy can hit notes. Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
There was the guitar playing by Oz Fox. And then Michael would also play guitar too.
Yeah.
Like no other you'd hear. The drums, and of course we can't forget, Tim Gaines playing bass. Mm-hmm. That brought the whole thing together. They rose above, I think, and popped out through the secular music industry as something different. But I think they put a lot of other metal bands to task.
Yeah.
They really did. When I saw Stryper on MTV for the very first time, I was thinking, oh my gosh, they've broke through.
Yeah.
They've broke through. Yeah. And even today, on VH1 or something, when they go through classics and they have some guy talking about best metal vocalist and best guitar players and best drummers, usually within the top 10, 15, Michael Sweet, Robert Sweet, and Oz Fox would be included in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I honestly think the talent's there. Mm-hmm. I think that they would end up becoming big one way or another.
Right.
Because it still holds up. Mm-hmm. And believe me, there's a lot of metal.
Yeah.
That does not. There's a lot of metal bands where I bought the tapes. Mm-hmm. I don't own those tapes anymore. And never bought it on CD again. But like the Stryper, Soldiers Under Command is an album that still stands the test of time.
Yeah.
What would be your favorite track on the album?
Soldiers Under Command. Truly. And, I didn't hear some of the prior...
I don't want to be stereotypical, but I got to go with the same thing because it's the first song on the album. It sets the tone. Mm-hmm. Yep. Rock That Makes Me Roll, I think, is a great song.
Yep. Truly.
The only, if I was going to do any criticism of the album, they have a couple ballads on the album, and they're full on
piano and synth keyboards and all that.
Yeah, those I hate to say it, but I skip over those.
Yeah.
But then they always come back with like the next song being like a full on rocker.
Right.
I'll say this too about Stryper. This is one of their most metallic albums. Mm-hmm. Because then as they went on, they definitely polished their sound.
Right.
Because I remember like To Hell with the Devil.
Right.
It's a very polished sound. It's still Stryper. Mm-hmm. The riffs are still there, but that raw guitar.
Exactly.
Those pounding drums were no longer there.
I think albums after Soldiers Under Command were what you hear people use the term they were overproduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were overproduced, and a lot of the songs were either the ballad, they all kind of sounded the same.
Yeah.
Michael with the sweet-sounding voice type thing.
Yeah.
But, truly on this album, there's Soldiers Under Command you get into. There's, Together Forever. Yeah. But then you'd have these other ones, First Love on that, which was one of the ballads, became a huge song for people to sing at weddings.
Wow.
Oh, it is incredible. I knew 2 or 3 guys that were in bands in the 80s with me that got married, and they had one of their guy friends in some band sing some Stryper ballad song. It was hilarious. Yeah. But I think they made themselves very distinct and that they could rock the guitar, the straight on stuff, but they were very melodic.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other bands were just grinding guitar rhythms.
Yeah.
They were extremely melodic. They were very, very ahead, not only in the Christian music industry, but ahead of others to follow that were a lot more in the hair band sound.
Yeah.
I
hate to say this, but I think Stryper morphed into like a hair metal band, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. They did.
But on Soldiers Under Command, that's a metal record.
Truly.
And I always feel like the singing is more like doing the highs, like Rob Halford. Mm-hmm. Was all about the high vocals. Joey Belladonna from Anthrax.
Right.
Was all about the high singing. Mm-hmm. Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. So the high vocals, kind of stuff was not. I remember there was this one metal band, the band called Lizzie Borden.
Right.
Same thing. The real high vocals. So to me, it didn't seem out of place at all.
No, no. But, every single list, like I told you, they rise within the top 10 to 15 in guitar, drumming, and vocals and metal. It just amazing. Yeah. Amazing stuff.
Totally amazing.
Yeah. And sure, Stryper had another album before that, Yellow and Black Attack. I maybe listened to that. I bought the cassette. Maybe like 2 songs on that, but truly Soldiers Under Command was the album.
Yeah, Yellow and Black Attack kind of almost feels like a demo. It's not. I think it's an EP or something like that. There's some good stuff on there, but it's not produced like Soldiers Under Command.
Yeah. I think Soldiers Under Command, whoever produced it, their record company gave them the ability to do what they wanted to.
Yeah.
And then later albums, that they had, they became a little bit more overproduced. It was the record companies wanting to shape them into something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Their image, their sound, and the whole thing. Artist repertoire. Yeah. Guys, shaping what they want, But yeah, at the Paramount Theater, I remember walking in that night, and I mean the place was just electric. All these people in there, and hearing it on a cassette over and over and over again. I think I probably wore out my cassettes of Stryper, especially this album. Probably had to buy 2 or 3, and eventually a CD. But I remember walking in there that night and thinking, I've heard this over and over again. I'm gonna see this live. Wow! Oh my gosh, it was incredible. And when they hit the stage, Ray, and all the lights came on, the black and the yellow stripes going all different directions. The guys wearing spandex pants and their coats and all that, with those same colors on the thing. Seeing this big, huge drum kit sitting up on this tall drum riser up there, and the thing turning sideways so you can see Robert and going around and stuff. And he's got this, and they had lights just on his gong, he would turn around and smack, and how they would work together. The bass player, Tim and Oz and Michael would all do this rhythmic. It was all choreographed perfectly. That blew me away. I was 10 feet off the ground walking out of that show that night. Totally awesome.
Yeah. It makes me miss the 80s.
Definitely.
And I miss having hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it 3/4 of the way down my back. How far did yours get?
My mom wouldn't let me cut it longer. Well, I could dream though, right, Jeff?
Exactly.
In my mind, I had long hair.
Maybe ask me about how I came to it. I'll tell you a little bit more.
Okay, Jeff, I'll ask you how you got into the album.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, Ray, it was 1985, and I'll never forget getting that album on
tape.
Enigma Metal Blade Records.
Enigma.
Hey gang, this is Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more videos, please click on the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, please give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing Hawaiian shirts, well, when I'm not talking about records, I'm talking about my other love, Tiki. I have a show called Tiki with Ray. If you want to check that show out, just search Tiki with Ray on YouTube. It'll come up.